We're there. We're there. We are live. Yay! Oh my goodness. To do this and to do real estate, it is quite a journey, I'll tell you that. All right, well, we survived, it looks like, and we are thriving. We are not only surviving, we are thriving. Here we are for yet another amazing episode, and I'm really excited and passionate, and I know you are too. Our episode is about fake news, new build edition. So this is going to be really, really interesting. And, we're really passionate about it. Before everything or anything, you should definitely subscribe to our channel. We try to be live at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Thursday, right? But, because of the liveness of this and things that happen, we sometimes there's a bit of a delay, so we apologize, but everything is recorded and you can watch it. But definitely subscribe to our channel, make sure you follow us. We're going to bring you some really, really interesting information, right, Eva?
Yeah, I am really excited. I feel like, I don't know, I've been manifesting new builds in my life recently. It's new build this, it's new build that, which I don't knock anybody, because isn't that the dream? You walk into a house and it smells like new carpet and paint. I mean, there's nothing better than that.
Than a new build. Yeah, so we're going to basically share with you all the hidden stories when you're dealing with new builds with builders. We are going to unveil every little thing about new builds. Share with you some of the things that people think that actually is true with new builds, but it's actually not. And make sure you stay tuned, because we are going to share with you some interesting, funny stories as well at the end that I think will be super entertaining. If you guys watched last week's episode, there were some good things in there.
There's funny stories. We're not scared to embarrass ourselves.
Exactly. So with that, my name is Anna and here's Eva, and let's begin. Let's talk about what is it? What are the potential pitfalls of dealing with well, maybe we should be doing that too. Dealing with new builds.
Yeah. Wait, are we live? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, when you talk to people, you talk to buyers, right? And they're almost shy to tell me that they've been considering new build at all. Mm-hmm. Because it's I've been considering new builds, because they think that means that all of a sudden, I'm kicked out of the picture. Mm-hmm. Absolutely not, right? Yeah. I think you need somebody there with you. But I think there's so many misconceptions
when we're dealing with builders. Yeah. Recently, as the market has changed quite a bit, since the holidays, more and more people are out there. They're interested to see how much more they can possibly afford. Maybe they weren't looking, they were kind of on the fence, but now they feel okay, maybe I should get in there and, lock those rates down, baby, before things change. So, and because of that, I think, while they're looking at homes, resale homes, but they're also looking at new builds. So when you're looking at new builds, some of the things that you should look into are, let's talk about the first one, which is new builds are absolutely perfect. Mm-hmm. Right? Are new builds perfect?
Yeah, so a lot of people think I'm just going to skip all the problems and just buy a new one. I could just avoid absolutely everything. But that's not true at all. I mean, I would even say, a resale property is if this has been standing here for 30 years, well, I think it'll probably be standing maybe for 30 more, right? Even though there is something with the age of a home. When you buy a home, you don't want to be the last owner, so don't go too old.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you don't get out of everything, because a lot of these builders they are subcontracting their work. So you don't really know, like, let's say a specific builder in Finley Creek, like, those ones are amazing. Well, it's actually not the same crew a lot of the times going to Orleans. So,
oh, I love that. Okay, so let's first talk about the fact that they're always perfect. That's something that people say. Is it always perfect? It really depends, first of all, on the builder. So there's so many different builders, and there's new ones that pop every 2 seconds, right? So you have pop up. You know, my English is sometimes comes in and out, you know, so if you hear something funny, you know, that's what it is. I am an immigrant, very proud immigrant here. So, yeah, so basically there's all kinds of new builders that are getting into the field, and there's some older ones. So it doesn't necessarily also mean that if they've been in the business a long time, they're the greatest. That doesn't necessarily work. The way we tell you about which builders are good and which builders aren't is based on the experience that we've had. So some of these builders that have been around, we've gotten to a point where we help them with we help clients with reselling those properties, so we can see the longevity of these kind of products or this kind of builder's quality of work and things like that. So one of the things you need to know is that, first of all, is this a good builder? And just because it's a good builder doesn't necessarily mean that that builder is going to actually provide you with, you know, sometimes some of the builders, they're great from a certain time to another time, and then they change, or like somehow their operations change, and like, you know, their crew changes and whatnot, and they don't necessarily have the same kind of people building their product, or like they change vendors, for instance, you know, they're no longer getting their material from a certain vendor, right?
Yeah, for sure. Like, especially in the timeline we're in right now, it's inflation this, inflation that. I think we're all looking at ways to cut costs. I've spoken to some people in the trades that they discuss like how older homes are better because they're made out of like real lumber, while the new lumber is more like dust, like pressed. It's like pressed wood. So there's things
they're
changing.
not like solid wood is what it is.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to speak for every builder, but that's just like what I'm hearing is that the quality of work, not just the workmanship, but the quality of what they're actually using to build homes, is not as great as it used to be. But there's so many moving pieces in this, especially when it's a business and they're always looking to cut costs. You even have builders too that they look to cut costs in like their land acquisition. So they're buying land that's like not the best to be built on as well. Like just to be close to Ottawa, or just to be like a cheaper option. I think we've seen, I'm thinking of a specific builder, but I'm not going to say, buy up some land that you're like, how is there a whole neighborhood here like
sinking?
The whole neighborhood sinking, or I thought this was protected land, question mark. You know?
Yeah, no, it's true. And like I remember when I first came to Ottawa, you know, Ottawa used to be a lot smaller, right? So people would talk and say, oh, you know what, this area used to be a swamp. You know? And builders bought it and like are building on it, and you know, all the homes have issues in this area or that area. And that's a lot of the times that's how we get information about areas. It's because we're like so integrated with people, with homeowners, that they tell us these things. You know, I don't think it gets any more intimate than like being in someone's home, right? So they share a lot of this information with us, and you know, of course, that gets us to know a lot more as well, like the inside scoop on things, right?
Yeah. So I guess one thing about like new homes too is what's really different is that you're buying something that's not quite like all settled yet. And a lot of homes, a lot of people don't know this, they take up the longer than 2 years. I think like a lot of the settling's done at 2 years, but it could take longer. So you could be getting like basement cracks and things. There are builders that now put these little grooves, like stress relief grooves, I guess, in the foundation so that your basement doesn't crack so much. But you're buying a product that could change a lot in the time that you own it. Rather than resale, it's like it's probably not going to be moving, and if you see some cracks, they're probably just going to stay that way unless it's something crazy is going on. So that's a big part of it, is that you don't know what you're getting, you don't get to see it, you also don't get to do an inspection before you're kind of firm in this thing, because by the time that you're getting an inspection, it's a pre-delivery inspection. Like, you're supposed to move in a week, which is pretty stressful if you find anything.
Yeah. And they no longer call it pre-delivery, by the way.
Oh, okay.
They call it like a walkthrough.
A walkthrough and like don't back out.
Yeah. And it's often done by somebody that is not even any kind of like inspector or doesn't have any kind of background in, like, they didn't go to like real estate school or anything like that. Or I should say, like, they're not familiar with any of the trades. So it's literally like, oh, here's your home. It smells new. It's all great.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times people don't know what their rights are on that walkthrough. So they call it a walkthrough specifically because they don't want it to be like an inspection. Because inspection is like, oh, we're looking at something to figure if there's something wrong with the house or not, right? So like walkthrough is a little more easier, right? So now with regards to new builds, obviously like everybody knows what's amazing with new builds. You got everything new. You got, I know what you're trying to say. You know what I'm saying. I'm gonna say.
You're the first butt on the toilet seat. Is that what you were thinking?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like, I knew exactly that. You knew what I was thinking too. Anyways, yeah. So I mean, those are the good things about new builds.
Yeah.
But the things that you don't know are the hidden expenses that you have to incur once you take on the new build, right?
Yeah.
First and foremost, before you're even able to get a new build, they tell you that you need a much, much bigger deposit to purchase, right?
Yes.
So when it comes to new builds, you have to put in a lot more money than if you were to purchase a resale in Ottawa. Maybe not Toronto, but in Ottawa. And part of that is, you're looking at $80,000, sometimes $100,000, right? So that's a lot of money for someone to come up with, have sitting in a bank somewhere. So that's the first thing. The other thing is most builders don't include things like like your appliances, right?
Yeah.
You also don't have window treatments. You always have like these if you have any light, it's gonna be the builder lights, also known as boob lights.
Yeah.
They are called that. You know that.
Oh, that's the scientific term.
Yeah. No. They're called they're called that in the industry. Anyways.
Oh, okay. I was like, okay, that's the science term.
I always wait for the reaction whenever I tell people. I'm like, oh, you've got boob lights, is what tradespeople call it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so those like round, and then they got that little
yeah
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they either have that or they don't have like nice light fixtures. And then when it comes to what else are we looking at? There's like also that doesn't come with AC unit.
Yeah.
No eavesdrops in Ottawa anyways.
So also there's no fences, which I think everybody wants a fence. And also, by the way, if you want to put one in, because of that settling, like we discussed before, you can't put any kind of like fence up before all your ground has moved. Otherwise, you're going to have a fence with a big hole under it. So a lot of people, they don't want to live without a backyard that long. The builder will come and like pave the driveway and do the lawn care afterwards, but you're gonna go like a year or sometimes longer with a gravel driveway, like no backyard, sitting, you and your kids sitting in a mud.
I would say most of builders do the driveway, not all. There are some builders builders that leave stuff undone.
I'm surprised every time. Like, it's like, oh, did you know, I was out at a new build recently, and the client asked me, like, oh, is the heating included? Like the furnace? Yeah. And I'm thinking in my head, like, I want to say, yeah, duh, but I'm not surprised, like, if they take out the furnace one day and it's like, you have to bring your own.
Yeah.
BYOF. Bring your own furnace.
Yeah. So that's the other thing. And then, some of them, they don't come with finished basements. If it's nowadays I find like with townhomes, it's becoming more and more something that they do. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to like detached properties, they don't do that, right?
Right.
So your basement's not finished. And then you have little things that do cost a lot, right? Like when you add them up. Like window treatments. So what are window treatments for curtains or blinds? Yeah. And then you have like garage door openers and the remote. Yeah. And it's just like one thing after the next, and it just kind of adds up. I've been to a builder where they didn't even put in the mirror. Oh. Can you believe that? The mirror in the bathrooms.
Yeah. It's kind of like, when you move out of your parents' house for the first time and you think about all these things that you didn't even know, like, cost money. You're like, oh, this toilet paper costs money. Oh, someone's buying the Windex. So someone's buying, I don't know why. I was like, I thought pickles were free. I don't know. Just everything feels free, And then you go to a builder and you're like, oh my goodness, I need to buy the everything. And then those are like optional, right? Like you could live without a fence. You could arguably live without an air conditioner, not that you'd want to. But there's also things at the end, like there's this mandatory warranty that some builders include it, but some builders are like, surprise, at the end you have to also buy this $2,000 carry-on warranty that's not included. Mm-hmm. Also, there's all these development fees and things like that if you read the 80-page legal document that you have to sign.
As an agreement of purchase and sale.
Yeah. So the agreement of purchase and sale is a lot longer, and also you don't read it when you're signing it because you're in the builder's office. You're not trying to be there for, 5 days, however long to take you to read something that's 80 pages, and your lawyer reviews it afterwards. But there's all these fees that have to be capped. Sometimes you'll look at it and you'll be like, whoa, they could charge me up to $2,000 for a building permit? Like, I thought that stuff was done. I thought that was included.
And it's kind of interesting you say that, because there is, brings us to the second misconception, which is, that everything is included in the base price, which really, really is not.
Yeah.
So not everything is included in the base price. In fact, the base price, what they advertise, is to kind of get you in the door. Like when you go to like, I don't know. Nowadays, I see it at grocery stores even. They put like, what is for sale, like big.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
I had not seen that before, but like they put it behind their like glass that this is like for sale. Like tomatoes are now, 99 cents a pound or something like that. Wow. Yeah. So that price is to get people to come in. But like you've seen it in clothing store, right? Like 70% off, and then it says up to, right? So it's like that price is to get people to come into their door, and then then they can talk about their price. But like the fact is, who doesn't like something new? Everybody likes something new. Yeah. But you have to understand that the people that are in the builder's office, they are employees of the builder. Okay. So that means that whatever that they are there to promote and protect and sell are for the builder and not you. Meaning that if, let's say, somebody behind you comes in and like they have only like one of that kind of house, like one model just coming up, you know, they're not going to be releasing any more lots, whatever, they will sell it to the best person they feel is going to be the one. So if, you know, the next person is there and let's say they feel like they're better qualified because they have no problem, like the questions that you ask too, right? Like if you go into the builder and be like, well, I don't have the deposit for it, is there anything I could do, you know, to work around it? Well, the builder or the builder's salesperson is working for the builder. So the builder's salesperson is going to be like, yeah, you know, I don't think this buyer is the one, you know, I don't think their financing's good. So let's just tell them like, yeah, we're not, we already have somebody else.
Yeah.
Know? And they could totally do that. Like they are not as regulated as we are.
Yeah.
They can just say whatever they feel like.
They're just running a business.
That's it. But for us, like we can't do that. We can't even say to people, yeah, we received several offers. We actually have to say how many. And like if it's not a written offer, then it's not an offer.
Yeah, it's not an offer at all.
Yeah. So like those are the things that I think people don't understand when it comes to new builds, that they need to really, really protect themselves, because builders are there to really, really help themselves and nobody else. They're there to protect themselves. They have a product to sell and they'll do whatever it takes to get it sold. Now, let's talk about the misconception number 3, which is the listed price is non-negotiable. So we kind of moved around number 3 and 2, just FYI. So the listed price is non-negotiable.
Yeah, that's not true. I mean, everything in the world of real estate, like everything's negotiable. The day you get the keys is negotiable. The deposit's negotiable. Whatever the case may be, furniture is negotiable.
Yeah, everything's really, really negotiable. I've had people where they say like, you know, can I have the furniture in a model home? And for the longest time I thought, no, you can't.
Oh my God, don't even ask. It's so embarrassing.
Don't embarrass us.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then it was funny because there was a builder who was selling their model homes furnished, and which is really, really interesting and nice and fun. So fully furnished. Of course, there were no like plates and things like that, but like the furniture was there, which I thought was really cool. But you know, is it negotiable? I would say like also we have situations where builders have sold their homes 100, 250,000 under what they usually advertise for.
Yes.
But those are not for your pre-construction. Those are, what do we call them?
They are the quick occupancies, or there's also something else called assignment sales.
Yeah.
So both of those are, the home is pretty much built.
Yeah.
And they are just sitting there empty. The builder wants to take their money. They want to take their crew. They want to go into the next phase, whatever that may be. But also, like, it's funny, like even builders go on sale. It's like for the holidays, I saw like $20,000 off, and then it's like, oh, January 1st, never mind.
Yeah. Builder closeouts. You know, we have builder closeouts. I don't know what's up with my hair. I don't know if you notice. I keep fixing it, and it just keeps going all around. I had it right, but as you know, we were like dealing with an offer situation with a very tight deadline, and then my hair went all crazy. So, anyways.
It's funny because I think it looks good. Like I kind of like a wild, untamed hair.
Do you?
It's just like,
I don't know. I feel like my life is not in order if my hair is not. Anyway, so back to the builders. Yeah, so those are like builder closeouts. You know, there's assignment sales. There's things like that. So which is very interesting. Let's move on to builder warranty covers everything. I think we talked about it in the past, but like let's just talk about it very quickly. What those are? What is that? What's that called? It's called Terry warranty, and it is not a builder's warranty. It's something that you do pay in addition to, so it's not included, and if it is, you're paying for it, in your purchase price.
Not free at all.
Yeah, not free. And what else?
But what I was going to say is, like, there actually is a difference. Like, some builders do offer, like, their own warranty, but it's not as comprehensive as the Terry warranty. So Terry warranty is 7 years, and it's, like, a tiered system. So for the first year, I think all workmanship is warranted, and then at the other side of it, it's, like, structural, like, settling, and every single year it just goes less and less, right? So a lot of people think, oh, well, I could use my home and, like, totally ruin the floors, and at the 7th year, go in and request all new floors or whatever. But, okay, so if you don't take the time to do the pre-delivery inspection, or now the fun walkthrough, then during that first year, you should do an inspection for sure, because if you go to them after a year, obviously they're not going to cover anything. So you want to make sure that you catch these things, which is like, it could be if the floor is scratching like crazy, which I think we've seen a house that I was like, oh my God, are you sure this home's only 2 years old? But it also could be that they didn't put, let's say, the 12 or 14 inches of insulation in the attic, like that. These are things that you just didn't get. So this warranty covers like workmanship, structural things, but also like if anything is absent, like that you should have got that's not there.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned that, because a lot of people don't know. And so the other thing with Terry warranty is if you're buying a let's say not the new build home, like not from the builder, but from like a home seller, a resale. But they're like, let's say it still has the warranty, has the Terry warranty for 7 years. You should register your name with Terry. All you do is call Terry and just register yourself, and that's it. You just register yourself as a new owner. They'll probably be asking for the agreement, and that's it. You're good to go.
Yeah, I just want to point this out though, because some people are like, oh, like great, like we love a warranty, like easy peasy, cause it covers everything, or it covers this or whatever. Any adult or any person that has dealt with any kind of insurance or warranty knows that it is a hassle to cash in on.
Yeah.
Right? Like, nothing to knock anything at all, but like, even if you run into that situation where you need to use the warranty, it's still going to be a pain.
Yeah. Why not knock anything at all?
Well, like, I don't want to get canceled.
Just kidding.
Seriously.
These days you can get canceled by certain regulatory bodies, eh?
Yeah. So I want to be a good representative.
Yes. Yeah. See how much we're regulated. Anyways, okay. So next is new builds appreciate faster than older homes. Like, here's a tricky one. Like, I mean, new builds do appreciate faster than older homes. But honestly, that's a big assumption. People say that. I don't think so. I mean, look at the homes that are super, I would say, in the higher tax brackets.
Yeah, like the over the million.
Yes, and they are not new builds. So that is a big assumption. In fact, I've had people where they say they prefer older homes because of the bones. Like, I'm not saying every new build, but there are some new builds out there that within a couple of years you walk around and you hear the wood and the joist, just like you hear it, right? It's not really well built. Whereas with the older builds, they are very solid.
Yeah. I also think that there's like a level of uncertainty when you're buying in a neighborhood that's completely new, because we really don't know how it's going to go yet, who's going to move there, how many investors are buying there. Because like if an investor buys there and it's just a bunch of investors for whatever reason, these homes could, like we've seen in specific areas, that it's mostly like these builders that it's very easy to assign. So these people that purchased it, they were never planning on closing in the first place. They wanted to do an assignment sale for like more money. So that's essentially selling the contract.
Yeah.
And what ended up happening was our market didn't do the climb that they thought it would. And now there's like such an influx of homes going for rent or sitting vacant. Or sitting vacant for sale, and the price is just going down and down and down. So I would say that you should prioritize location, which I think a lot of these new builds don't.
Yeah. I was trying to see if I can find the right, like, yeah. Yeah, I know. Okay, so next is, what's the next misconception? I would say this is one. You don't need a real estate agent for a new build.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think that, and like that's exactly what I was saying at the beginning. It's like people are so shy to tell me that they've been thinking about a new build. It's like, oh well, Eva, like what will you do? Like what will be your job in this? It's like, listen here, you need an expert. You need an expert to handle this, because
you really do. You really do. I mean, and you know, it may seem a little bit self-serving. You guys know we are real estate brokers here, but understand that the reason why we tell you is because the builders, again, the person working at the builder's office is not there to represent you. It's kind of like dealing with a private homeowner. The homeowner is working on their own best interest. We're here to help you make that purchase, right? We're here to represent you. Make sure that you are not told something to do and you don't have to, you know, or like sign something that it's not binding, you know. So we've had many scenarios that we can talk about, and I love this segment because it really highlights what it is that we can do. And for those realtors out there that are watching our show or listening to this show, now you know what it is that you should do when you go to a builder's office if you're not doing it. So what are some of the things that we do when it comes to, like, you know, new builds? When we go there as a representative of the buyer, what is it?
Yeah, so I think there's definitely like two sides to it. One is before you sign some kind of agreement, before you secure anything. And that could be just letting you know what it is that you're purchasing, what it is that you are not purchasing. Because some of these new builds, like especially I find if you get like an affordable option, whether it's like the most affordable one that this builder has in a townhome, most affordable single family that they have, they often don't build the model home of it. And they'll tell you, oh, just go into this model home, and it's like pretty much the same. Like it's like exactly the same. And you'll go in and you'll be, oh, okay, so this light fixture's there, right? And they'll be like, oh, actually, no. And you're like, okay, the bathroom's on this side, right? Actually, no. The ceilings are 10 feet, right? No. And it's like, were they going to wait for us to sign it and move in? And we walk in and we're like, this is half the home I thought I was buying. So part of it is that, and we're like well versed in like a PhD and like what's an upgrade, which it seems like is not so common sense anymore. So that is one part of it. The other part of it is like after the signature is signed. So things like could get very legal very fast. Whether it's like they're promising you something that's not coming through on the paperwork. They promised you this discount and, oh, now I can't give it to you. Oh, they promised you this closing date and now, you know, now it's a no. Or you ordered this countertop and all of a sudden it's discontinued. Like there is 80 pages or whatever, how long it is, of stuff that could go wrong.
Yeah, so that's one of the pieces. The other thing is, like, we are there to make sure that what it is that they're selling you actually is going to have some kind of value. I find a lot of other people outside of real estate say, oh, that is going to increase the valuation of your home. I had a guy who came in and installed a security system in my home when I first came to Ottawa. And he goes to me, he didn't know what I was doing, but he was like, well, installing a security system is going to really, really increase the valuation of your home. But like, the reason why I did it was because I was new in Ottawa and I was kind of scared because I didn't know how safe it actually was. And that, you know, and I said to the guy, well, actually, I'm a realtor, and no, it's not. And then he just quieted down. But, you know, a lot of the times that's what it is. We want to be there to make sure that what you're purchasing is actually going to increase in a few years down the line. You know, how close are you to your neighbor? That's important. You know, nowadays in certain subdivisions, you're so close that I've said it in previous times where the roof, you know, during winter time just kind of attaches together because of the snow falling and things like that. So that's another thing, you know, having, let's say, the electrical box in front of in your front yard, or like having the fire hydrant. What are the pros and cons of that? These are the things that we're there to help you. And like, you know, builders will tell you, oh, you know what, level 1 hardwood is this price, but level 7 is this price. Of course, the level 7 looks great. And it's like, oh, but, you know, bamboo is like, you know, it's not as absorbent. It's not this and that, easy to clean. But when it comes on the resale side, I've barely ever heard a buyer say, oh, I need to have a level 7 hardwood. For them, it's all about the aesthetics of it. First of all, is it hardwood, right? That's the first thing. They're like, they don't want carpet. And then if it is hardwood, they don't go into like anything else but like the color. You know, sometimes they're like, oh, I don't like that, you know, whatever color, right? But other than that, you know, like, don't get those extra expensive level of upgrades, because when you do take possession of your property, you can then go ahead and change things, you know, before you move in. So, and you'd be able to get it at a much, much better price. We have a good directory of vendors that we can suggest to people and to people that we work with. And if we don't, we go out there and try to source those people to help you. Because we know what questions to ask those vendors as well.
Yeah. I would say, though, like, some upgrades are worth it.
Definitely.
I would say
saying that it's...
No, I know you're not. But I just want to, like, bring it up for people listening. It's like, oh, like, should I do, like, a bare bones, like, no upgrade thing? Because there is a builder here in Ottawa that offers that package. Like, it's less than basic. It's, like, almost nothing.
Wow.
And they did that, like, to appeal to the affordability. It's like you could have a new build with, like, almost nothing in it for, like, a crazy price. And I mean, what a great marketing tactic. It's like as low as whatever, some unbelievable price. But it's like sometimes, like, if they have the crew there and everything, like, I saw an upgrade for a finished basement for, like, an additional, like, $13,000 or something. And I was like, okay, that one is worth it, you know? But also I was going to say, like, not only can we help you with upgrades, negotiating, all of that, but also, like, the lot selection, like you said before. It's like, how close are you? But also it's like, are you on, like, the busiest street? Are you facing a good direction? Are you going to get any sunlight at all? Because these are factors that, you know, you're thinking about on the resale side, all the way the drive up, and then you're inside and you're like, wow, this one has a really great natural sunlight. And the ones that don't have great natural sunlight, I'm sure the people buying them didn't know.
Yeah. They just were sold on, okay, what lot is it? Okay, the price is good. I like this model home.
Yeah.
And then they walk in and it's like nothing like the model home. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, like, with the lot selection, I feel like consumers really don't have a rhyme or reason. Like, I've seen people be like, well, I think I'm gonna go with like lot number 9 over lot number 10 because like I was born on the 9th.
I know, I was gonna say that. I could so see like Asian people. I'm Asian.
All types of people.
No, but they love like the number 8.
Oh,
right?
I'm gonna
so
go
they
with
would go
8
like
or 7.
with 8. Yeah. So, anyways, it so is a thing. Like numbers is a thing. I don't know. My mom was really into that, so I could so see that happening.
Oh, also, you don't get to pick your address.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people want to pick your address, but it's like it's not assigned yet or whatever. Mm-hmm. So you only get to pick your lot number.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's talk about some fun stuff. Like the other day we were having a conversation about. Actually, I was sitting here and you were having a meeting with one of our buyer clients or buyer appointments, which was really cool to see.
Oh my gosh, it's nerve-wracking to do it like in front of anybody.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I remember the first days of watching you, but it was interesting. So while you were doing that, and then when you got to the close, which we won't get into, I was like taking a video for our team and saying, oh, look at Eva in her element meeting with clients. Mm-hmm. And then you said the funniest thing.
Yeah. I was like this close has really like served me well, a way to like tie it up and like essentially it's like, stick with me, be loyal with me, and this is the same clothes that I used to get my boyfriend. It's like,
so the clothes not only helps you in the professional world, but it also has helped you in your personal.
In the personal, like
life.
Always be closing, personal and professional. Yeah, I think that's why there's such a rise, I think, in the personal, personal development. They're like, you should, like, invest in courses to, like, talk. And it's like, just get a sales course. Yeah. Seriously, that's all it is.
Well, I mean, like, people talk about, like, sales as, like, the worst thing or whatever. But when you look at sales, right, like, what is it? I think for me, sales is to be able to communicate with someone, figure out their situation and see how you can solve it, come up with a solution that actually will solve their situation, Everybody is willing to go to someone to solve their issue, right? Whether it be a therapist or anything. So I think that's part of what we do, like being able to listen and then being able to help with that. But it's funny you said that about your boyfriend, because I myself have like any relationship that I've been in, including the current one that I'm married to, it's been through online prospecting. I didn't know I'm such a good online
lead generation.
I was good at lead generating before it even was a thing. Like online was not a thing. Online dating was not a thing during my time. But for whatever reason, that's how I've been able to generate leads. Like I've been good at prospecting online and converting.
Yeah.
Leads online.
No, like not only that, it's like you want to bring it to the next level. It's like you're not cold calling either. Like they're coming to you.
Yes. I was reverse prospecting before I knew it.
Oh my gosh. Well, you could have put a good offer out there and like they'll come.
I mean, when I say we are ahead of times, I'm telling you, this is totally a thing. I remember people were saying, oh, you know what? Online leads are no good, blah, 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 blah.
I heard the same thing.
Yeah, but I was like, I don't know. I've had a good success good success rate. I'm married to an online lead. And so anyways.
But he was not a client.
No, he was not a client. I was not even in real estate at that time. It's actually kind of funny because, I don't know if you know, but like way back, Facebook, when it first came into being a thing, a friend of mine goes, we were at university, and my friend goes, oh my gosh, there's this place where all the university students go, like the university, like Stanford, and like all these American Ivy League schools are there. And, in order for you to be part of that, you have to have a university email. Right? Wow. They would not allow you to join if you didn't have a university email. So whatever .com or .ca or whatever. And then you'd have to be invited. So my friend was already there, and then she invited me. Wow. And it was such an open forum. Like you could creep anybody you wanted, and you could tell who created your page. I'm not sure if you could. But you could definitely see everybody's, like, there was no privacy. All the photos were open to the public. Everybody would, like, either say they're in a relationship or they're not. Like, everything was just, like, so open. And people were just, like, friend requesting. I was like, oh, my gosh, my friend from, like, back in Iran who lives in, like, Los Angeles, but they go to UCLA. They're there. So it was really cool to see all of, like, people from all these different places. And, like, your friends count. Like, how many friends do you have? And things like that. So it was really cool. And that's actually where I met my husband. Because he was in another university. And, like, that's how we end up talking. And, the rest is history. But,
it's still very open. Like, just to the degree of, like, you could friend request anybody, and it's, like, not weird.
What?
Is LinkedIn.
That's true.
I have, like, so when I first got into real estate, everybody's talking about how, like, LinkedIn is the secret. Like, you got to do LinkedIn. And I was like, okay, like, of course, I have nothing to do except for being on LinkedIn. So I became, like, an author on LinkedIn, like, writing all these articles about the no experience I had. But you could just Google it, right? So I'm like, you really got to look out for this. But I'm like, I don't know.
It's still okay. But you could, what I like about LinkedIn, well, not anymore, I guess, is that, like, you could tell who visited your page.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
If you're premium, yeah, you can.
But if they're premium and they put in, like, to hide themselves, then you won't. But I'll still say, like, someone from whatever company was looking you up. So if it's not a big company, you can tell, right?
I don't know. I'm not on it too much anymore, but, like, I had a funny experience because my partner is, like, looking to, find a new opportunity for himself. And I was asking him, like, oh, like, what company would you want to go to? Like, first, like, which one? And he told me, and I was like, you know what? You got to use LinkedIn. Like, I'm like, you got to use LinkedIn. Like, you could just look up anybody and you could, like, message them directly because, like, I feel like the people that get picked on things are, like, if you go above and beyond, they'll probably look at you, especially if you're, like, amongst many. And when I first got into real estate, when I was on LinkedIn or whatever, I was just looking up, like, CEO of this, like, and adding, like, all the CEOs I could find in Ottawa, like, everybody that's worked at a builder's office, like, any kind of good job. I was like, I just need a high network thing going on here. So I look up.
That's so smart, actually.
Wow. So, yeah.
You are smart.
I did. I got some opportunities. Some of them I fumbled, but that's okay. I was like, I don't think I was experienced enough to get in front of these people. But yeah, anyways, I was, like, already friends with the CEO of his, like, dream company.
Wow.
And I was like, you really got to get on here because I feel like I can't, I can't just, like, chat him like, oh, my boyfriend's looking for a job. Like, it really doesn't come out.
Yeah. So that's funny. Okay, let's talk about, like, some, like, fun stuff. have you been in like homes where there is something you saw, whether it be like during a showing or during a listing presentation, that really shouldn't be there? And what was it? Like, share that. I have some good ones too.
Okay, so we go out all the time, like middle of the day, evening, weekends. Some homes are occupied, some are not. Some are occupied, but nobody's supposed to be there. And so I was going through a house, and it seemed empty. It was like a little messy or whatever, but I was like, okay, it's fine. And I go up. Every time I have run into something, like I always get a little feeling like we are not alone here, So we go up to the bedrooms, and it's like I go up to the first bedroom, like I open it, because I want to go in before anybody else does. Like, I want to be the discoverer.
Okay.
Not my clients, right?
Yes.
So, like, I open the door. I'm like, oh, it looks good. Okay, you go in here. I go into the bathroom, because I already told this story about how I went into the bathroom one time. Somebody's in the shower. It's like, go into the bathroom. Oh, it's fine. Last bedroom, I open it. There is a kid there, like, during school hours. Well, like, he's like a teen. And his eyes are so red.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, I don't even think he could talk right now.
So, and you had no clue there's a showing.
Yeah, you had no clue. I'm like, hey, are you okay? He's like, yeah. And I was like, okay, well, we're not going to come in here, okay? And because I already knew it was a no. So, like, why put this kid through that?
Yeah.
But I was thinking, like, after, like, should I tell on him? Like, I didn't say anything, but, you wonder to yourself, it's like, what would you do? Would you tell on this kid, or would you not?
Yeah, I don't know. That's hard. I'd probably tell the agent. I would.
Like, I would. There was somebody home, like, the teen must be sick.
Yeah. I just tell the agent, because I think, like, as a listing agent, I'd like to know. And as a parent, I like to know if my kids are, like, at home.
They're skipping school.
Oh my gosh, the other day I had, like, the craziest conversation with my kids. Like, they're really good at school, right? And then they go to me, hey, one of them, I'm not going to say who, was like, yeah, I don't like school. I was like, what? Like, this is the first time. Like, I've never heard this from you. Like, you get really good marks and things like that. Like, you're actually good. And then I find out the reason why. I'm not going to say he or she, because then they'll just, like, this child of mine.
Do they watch the pop?
This child of mine doesn't like school is because things are so slow. And this child of mine doesn't get enough homework and things to do, and like,
well, that's good,
is far ahead of everybody else, so finds it very boring. So I was like, okay, that's interesting. Anyways, on another topic, so I had a similar experience walking into a property where we walked in and we knew that the tenant might be home. So I told our clients, there may be somebody home, and by the way, this client might be watching right now.
Do you ring the doorbell and, like, knock?
I do.
And then I go into, I go, hello?
I do. I'm, like, knocking, hello!
Yeah.
I literally do that. And then I walked in, and then we're looking, everything's nice, whatever. And then we open the door, and then, we're looking, and then my, one of the clients, they come in and they're like, there is somebody in bed in their underwear, like literally like sitting and just like reading with their underwear, and they're
they were not disturbed by this at all.
No, like, I guess they didn't figure that somebody's like walking through their home. And then I was like, hello, hi, like TV on, and I was like, hi, we had a showing scheduled today. And he looks at me and he's like confused and says like, oh, I wasn't told. And I said, look, there's a confirmation here. And usually after I spoke with the agent and the agent said, you know, like this does happen, they did know. So I gotta say, like, a lot of tenants do funny things to keep other people away from homes and showings and things like that, you know?
Yeah, I was gonna say, this is a not so conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
It's like they are throwing a wrench in it. It's like,
Yeah.
because everybody in Ottawa, I feel, knows, it's like, if you're renting, you stay put.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because your next option is expensive. Like, every single year, the rent's going up. And also, some people, they, like, let's say during this time that their credit has been going down or whatever, it's like, they could be not a great candidate. So it's like, why would you want to move?
But you know what? That works in their
detriment?
Yeah, because, you know, as an investor, hearing these kind of stories makes me not want to invest anymore, makes me not want to take that, you know, risk of taking on a home and take on these kind of people as my tenants. Like, I don't want to have tenants because I don't want to deal with these kind of things. So I don't think that if, you know, whatever that tenant, you know, there are all these like groups for tenants and things like that. And this goes to you specifically. If that is you, like, guys, stop with these things, because it is going to make you know, finding a property much harder in the years to come, because investors are simply just not going to want to invest in purchasing a real estate. So even the ones that have it, then what they're going to do is they're just going to put it up for sale, and then they are going to have someone move into a home, and you are having to evacuate anyways. So stop with this nonsense. Like, I mean, do what it is that you should do and abide by the rules is what it is, you know? And there are so many other properties out there. Find another property, move in, move on, you know? So,
yeah. And I mean, I find, like, when I'm helping investors, like, so many of the times they're, like, so skeptical to take on, like, whatever tenant is in there. Mm-hmm. So it's, like, almost... It's like, as an investor, it should be a plus that there's a tenant in there. That means, like, you're going to go no months not making money, hopefully, if they're, like, paying on time and stuff.
Yeah.
And you never know how they actually are, because, of course, the person selling it is going to be like, these are the best tenants ever. Like, definitely buy this house, take them on, you know, because, like, their interest is for you to purchase it. But I have had, like, a really, one in particular, like, a really great experience with an investor taking a tenant over. It's like, we didn't care that they were paying less. Mm-hmm. They were, like, perfect. They were home for the showing. Mm-hmm. And that was, like, to their plus. Mm-hmm. So you could see how great, respectful, clean they are.
Yeah.
So just because somebody's selling the home that you're in doesn't mean that you can't make, like, a great impression.
I've even had, like, homeowners where they would, like, rent a part of their home to this tenant, a long-term tenant. And the long-term tenant was so amazing that on their next purchase, they were thinking about bringing on the tenant and getting them a better space even.
Oh my gosh,
so
with us.
Yeah, so they're like, yeah, we have this tenant who's going to be moving in with us, and we have to look for a property that fits their needs. We want to make sure that they're happy, and, you know, there's that income coming in as well. So that does happen as well. If you're an amazing tenant, like, you know, it's kind of like, I had no idea about this. Uber, you get rated as somebody who rides Uber.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Everybody knows that.
I had, this one didn't know about it. Okay. So, I found out that, you know, my rating was really good, except someone here in Ottawa, when I dropped my car at the dealership and I went to, like, take the Uber, he was terrible. So I was like, yeah, I'm not happy. So I also didn't tip him. And yeah, because it was terrible. Why would I tip somebody who's got a bad behavior? And next thing I know, when I went on these, like, conferences, because in these conferences is when I use Uber, and I was like, why are, like, drivers dropping me? Like, they don't want to take me on. Like, people didn't do that before. Like, people were, like, you know, always, like, I would get picked up really quickly.
Yeah.
And afterwards I found out that my rating dropped from 5 to like 4.86 or something like that, which I worked really hard while in the US to help with my rating. So I was like tipping, make sure you give me my 5-star review.
You're like bringing them a gift, like, thought you would want this water.
Yeah, so anyways, I was reading the rules, and it says like, yeah, you have to be good, you have to show up on time, don't bring any food in their car, don't be drinking or eating, and da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, oh my gosh, I had no idea that you get rated. But yeah, so anyways, I don't know how we end up with this conversation, but yeah.
I don't know, but I wish there was more ways to rate people.
Yeah.
It's like, imagine you could look up at like a social score and you're like, oh, I know that these people are a headache.
I wonder what it's called. Oh, credit score?
Oh, is it our Google reviews?
Yeah. So anyways, I think that's pretty much it, you guys. I mean, that's what we have for you we wanted to share with you some stuff with regards to new builds. There is a purpose to have a realtor come in and with you to a new build to make sure that you're protected. Builders, listen, they don't want realtors there for 2 reasons. Number 1 is, well, if they don't have to have a realtor involved, then they're like, yeah, we don't have to pay their fees. It doesn't mean that them not paying a realtor fee is going to help you get a better price on your home, because that portion is just going to go into their profit. The second thing is that they don't want a realtor in there, because if a realtor is in there, then they are going to meddle. They're going to have somebody else who knows a lot more than you going to meddle in this deal and protect you. And they don't want that. They want you to just like sign release forms easily and make them, all these different amendments that they forgot to enforce at the beginning. Whereas if you have us involved, we tell you, yeah, you know what? You shouldn't be signing this amendment. You shouldn't be signing this release form. Hey, listen, let's go talk to a lawyer and make sure that the lawyer is involved in this situation. So, and the final thing is we can help you decide on what to actually purchase without having to be sold on stuff, unnecessary things that they want you to purchase because they simply want to get rid of that inventory. So with that, I hope that this information was helpful for you. We are here to bring you guys with more and more information, entertain you, but also bring you good stuff that you can actually use in the future with regards to life and real estate. Final thoughts?
Call us before you go. That's it. Have a great day.
Thank you, guys.